Welcome back to the 2-Minute Warning. Today I'm looking at the Baltimore Ravens and determining whether or not they should trade for wide receiver Julio Jones from the Atlanta Falcons. He's supposedly on the trade block. Today the Falcons have been receiving calls supposedly, but we'll see if it comes into fruition. But before getting to the topic, question for those of you viewing, especially the Ravens fans out there. Do you want to see Julio Jones be traded to the Ravens? And if so, what are you willing to give up for him? So comment down yes or no, and if yes, what are you willing to trade for Julio Jones? But getting to the topic, in my opinion, you have to look at this two ways. It has been announced by Ian Rappaport that the Falcons, if they trade Julio Jones after June 1st, they save $15 million in cap space. But if they trade him before June 1st, it is a $23 million cap hit, and that is practically almost a $40 million swing in cap space that can really hurt or really help the Atlanta Falcons. So therefore, they have to be careful in which route they want to go. If I'm the Falcons, I don't want to take a $23 million cap hit, but if you're the Baltimore Ravens team that is possibly offering a first-round pick, a Ravens team that now has 2 first-round picks, it might be worth considering. The Ravens have the 27th pick in the NFL draft, and they have the 31st pick in the NFL draft. They got the 31st pick after trading Pro Bowl left tackle Orlando Brown Jr. to the Kansas City Chiefs. That is well known by now. However, they did lose a second-round pick in return. So when it comes to pricing Julio Jones, what the Ravens have to offer goes from a first round to a third round, and that is a big jump if the Falcons are looking for something in the middle for a possible second round. So you have to consider, if the Falcons are going to take the $23 million cap hit, they're going to want a first round pick. They want to make it worth their while. They don't want to take the cap hit more likely than not, but if they're going to, they want the price to be paid for in return, and that is probably going to be resulting in the Falcons demanding one of those first-round picks. However, if they're looking at trading him after June 1st, the Ravens will be looking into trading future draft capital in 2022. If they wait, though, they could be a little more, if they're a little more patient and wait, they could only get Julio Jones for a second or third-round pick, and that is a much better deal. It's just hard to determine what is Julio Jones' value right now. Because he's getting up there in age. He is now 32. He's had some injuries in the recent history, and obviously, we have to see when is he looking to be traded, or when is he going to be traded because of the cap hit and cap situation for the Falcons. So looking at it the two ways, if before the draft, I think the Falcons are going to want a first rounder, and assuming the Ravens in this first round draft it's assumed that they probably will be looking at a receiver, maybe a Kadarius Toney from Florida, or Rashad Bateman, or whoever they're looking at first round. They need a receiver. They try to chase receivers in free agency. Juju Smith and T.Y. Hilton, for example, they wanted both of them, or at least one of them. However, they didn't get either and had to settle for Sammy Watkins. And now you're looking at a receiving core with Marquise Brown, Sammy Watkins, Mark Andrews, and I gotta say, that's not a great receiving core. I like Mark Andrews, and I like what Sammy Watkins used to be, and I like Marquise Brown's speed, but Marquise Brown, his size is not good enough to be a number one receiver. Sammy Watkins gets hurt too much, and I can't really knock Mark Andrews too much. I do think he's a good tight end, but this receiving core needs an X-factor type of receiver that could really take to the next level, and they can either address it in the draft or get a proven Julio Jones, when healthy, is a top 5 receiver. And when you get any type of player at any type of position and they're top 5 in their position when it comes to skill and talent, that is going to change your team for the better. And to me, there will be risk because of Julio Jones and his injuries and his age, but it is a risk I'm willing to take if I'm the Ravens. However, I would be looking to possibly make this trade after the draft and after June 1st to see what you get in the draft, and of course to likely get Julio for a cheaper price, because the Falcons are not going to want to trade him before June 1st unless it is for a first rounder because of the cap hit they're taking. And I don't know if the Ravens want to give up their first rounder right away, because if they give up their first rounder right now for Julio, they in a sense traded Julio Jones for Orlando Brown Jr., and I don't think that is a fair trade straight up, in my opinion, at least this point in their careers. Orlando Brown Jr. is just now hitting his prime, and Julio Jones is just now falling out of his prime. So in that sense, I don't think they want to trade a first rounder, but who's to say? The brand new GM, the brand new head coach of the Falcons, Arthur Smith, maybe they just don't want Julio Jones and they're willing to eat the cap hit. Of course, that'll have to do with the owner as well, because they'll be paying the money. But say they just want to get rid of him and they're looking for a second or third round pick. Like I said, the Ravens don't have a second rounder, but that doesn't mean they can't offer a third this year or a second next year. If I'm the Ravens, my overall consensus is I'm at least making a phone call and seeing what he costs. This receiving core needs a major upgrade. Looking at the Ravens' overall team, quarterback is set. You got a top 10 quarterback in Lamar Jackson. He's the most electric quarterback in the NFL in open field, that is for sure. Run game's pretty dang good with Gus Edwards and J.K. Dobbins. Secondary's pretty good. Marcus Peters, Marlon Humphreys, Jimmy Smith. Pass rush and receiving core, that is where things need to be addressed. Receiving core, like I said, there's a foundation there between Marquise Brown, Sammy Watkins, and Mark Andrews, but there's no number one X-factor receiver that teams fear, and therefore Julio Jones can fix that. Or maybe they want nothing to do with Julio and believe whoever they take in the first round or second round or third round could fix that themselves. Like I said, maybe Rashad Bateman, Kadarius Toney, whoever they got their eye on. Maybe they believe in the draft. They need a pass rusher as well after losing Yannick Ngakoue and Matt Judon. It's kind of just Calais Campbell there by himself now. Maybe they want to look at a Jalen Phillips, a Gregory Rousseau, a Kwity Paye. That will be around, but there's guys out there the Ravens can be looking at. And of course, they may want to address O-line as well after losing Orlando Brown Jr. They might be wanting to look at a Tevin Jenkins. Either way, Ravens have a lot of options whether they want to address their issues in the draft or address one right now today by trading for Julio Jones. But like I said, if you trade for him June 1st, the price is going to be hefty for the Falcons to be okay with eating that cap hit. I don't think they're going to be willing to do it, but if the Ravens are offering something crazy, everyone has a price. We'll just have to see. I think in the end, we're going to see Julio probably stay with the Falcons, but who knows? And if he does get traded, I don't think it'll happen today or anytime soon. I think it'll happen after June 1st when it actually benefits the Falcons to get rid of him so they can save money. And then the Ravens, by then, like I said, he could be a cheaper price because the Falcons have a reason themselves to get rid of him. They have an incentive. They save money and make money from getting rid of him. And the Ravens then will have a better idea of what they need really, and if they even need Julio Jones anymore. They'll have their rookies possibly in camps by then, or at least get a better look at them and know, do we really need Julio or not? But as of today, I'm at least making a phone call and talking to Arthur Smith and the Falcons and seeing what does he cost, what are they thinking, what are they eyeballing, and at least looking at what we have and seeing if we can make a deal. I'm not offering today because of how much I think the Falcons are going to value him out today before June 1st, but I'm at least going to make sure and solidify and confirm that he is going to cost an arm and a leg. But if he's cheap, go for it, Ravens fans. You need a Pro Bowl wide receiver, a top 5 wide receiver and healthy. And really, right now I think in that division, Ravens and Browns are neck and neck. But if you had a Julio Jones, this could be the edge, that put the cherry on top and the edge that puts the Ravens over the Browns. But we'll have to see. The draft is yet to come. It's just a few days away. And this Julio Jones news is exciting. But like I said, guys, comment down below your thoughts. Do you want to see Julio Jones go to the Ravens, and do you think he'll even get traded anywhere in general? It doesn't even have to be the Ravens. And, of course, what do you think his value is at? Thanks for watching, guys. 2 in the morning.